Okay, and while I am waiting, I think I will tell you this is my little work table. And I am the Ocean Swagger. And I have been receiving some messages in the forms of visions. I'm a psychic medium shamanic practitioner, clairvoyant. I work with nature spirits, etc. Um, what I use, the cards I use are generally a Native American based deck uh, by two Native American based decks by Jamie Sams called the Sacred Path cards and the Animal Medicine cards. Hi, Crystal. How are you doing? Uh, and I'll try and call you out as you come in, but I may be too into what I'm talking about, so I'm just going to warn you. It's kind of hard sometimes to be reading the stuff that's coming into me and watching who's coming in. But sooner or later, if I see your comments, I'm going to say hi to you because I do appreciate every one of you that makes it in. I realize that your time is precious too, and you have stuff to do. So spending some time with me uh, is important to me. And I'm grateful for all of you who do come and visit and who do subscribe and who do watch. I'm going to try and be a little bit more consistent. It's one of the parts of what I'm about to explain to you. I have been watching some, I keep track of a lot of things. I've been watching some astrology shows as well as some other stuff. It's going pretty much with what I'm seeing. And when I see a bunch of us seeing the same things in different ways, some people are seeing it through astrology, some people are seeing it through cards, some people are seeing it some other way, just as trends or something. Well, then I got to say, this is probably what's happening. Okay. So, putting it all together like I do in my mind just starts to fit these pieces together. And then I try and bring that to you and whatever is coming into me. For a long time, I have been seeing images that I didn't 100% understand, and maybe I still 100% don't, but quite a bit more now, seeing as how the numerology is all adding up along with the astrology, along with everything. And so it's getting clearer and clearer what a big shift. I mean, some really big shift is going to hit the fan. We talk about the shift hitting the fan. It's, oh, indeed it will. Indeed it is. It's going to be some big shift. But I keep getting told, don't worry, darling, you're going to be taken care of through all this. Because I know how scary this is going to be. Some of this is going to be scary. It's going to be thrills and chills. Everybody's saying that too. I don't think there are too many people trying to shine us on that this is all going to be flowers and sunshine and walking through the park. No, we're going to be called upon to stay strong and keep our minds strongly set on what we want to see in the world. That's part of it, is mastery of the physical plane, which is 22. 22 means is also keeping your thoughts on what you want to keep your thoughts on and not drifting off as into something else. Sorry about the possible throat clearing through this. I have a lovely little kitty, and he is the sweetest little guy, but he has the fuzziest, woolliest fur. And I have to just accept that as part of him. You know, doing what I can to alleviate what's going on with his fur, because he sheds all year, and he sheds a lot, and it's very woolly and fuzzy, and it even tickles his nose. He even wants me to help him scratch his nose. So it's very woolly, and it gets in the back of my throat, and so sometimes I'm going to have to clear my throat, maybe. Sorry about that. But it's just part of loving this cat. I have to accept that's part of him. I will find some workarounds, looking for workarounds. And that's what we're pretty much that's part of the energy of this. What do you really want, and are you willing to work around some other stuff? You know, the eclipse that we're about to have over Thursday, Friday is one that hasn't happened since before the last Civil War. And the interesting thing about that being, I think we're going to have another quote unquote Civil War, but not quite like the last one. But I've been saying that for a long time, and actually, my astrologer friends have been agreeing with that it looks like we're heading into that kind of a time again. And really, nobody could blame us. Look at what's been happening. Look at what we've had to put up with. Look at all the lies and deceptions and just everything. The inverted matrix. And those of you who also study some of the other reset, mud flood, inheritors, etc., videos, you know that this time period of there is a time period, I guess we're ending an era. The astrologer that I was listening to, and I have put the video in my timeline on MeWe, so you can watch it too and draw your own conclusions. But he was saying this is the end of an era as well as an end of an age. So we're going to be ending something that actually started in the 1800s. And he gave a timeline of like 1860 something. Now, that is going to be really significant to those of you who study the mud floods and the resets. You're going to know that it was in the mid 1800s that a lot of the reset stuff was going on, that the inheritors were coming. A lot of just, if you watch Michelle Gibson, you watch John Levy, you watch Paul Cook, you watch even Flat Earth British, which has some good stuff on it. Although I can't say I really subscribe to that. The flat Earth, or actually any particular shape of the Earth, as far as I know, it could be a rainbow farting unicorn. We don't know. But just remember that SpaceX would have to know, or they'd crash. So, and they're not NASA, so I don't know. It's not relevant to me. See, it's not that big of a deal to me. If it's a matrix, we're all going to have to deal with the fact that this is a matrix. And if we're moving from one reality into another reality, if we're moving from 4D into 5D, then we have to accept that things are going to be different anyway. It may not even matter. We know that our perceptions are screwed up, basically. We know that we've been lied to, gaslighted, and mind controlled, and Lots of propaganda has been heaped on us, and so it's very hard for us to know what the truth is. Those of us who remote view have done what we could to shed light on this as much as possible, and that is happening more and more. A lot of people are now taking up remote viewing and other disciplines in order to help shed some truth on our extremely convoluted and misappropriated past and history. Once again, I remind you, you are divine. You always have been. Nothing is going to make you more divine. However, acknowledging it and living it and being it and knowing that it is, in fact, true is going to help you a lot. Now, I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm just saying it's a suggestion. Part of this that we've been seeing for a long time, and part of what the Civil War was about, is division. And look, even the same stupid stuff is trying to come up. Dividing Black people from white people, dividing rich people from poor people, dividing this person from that person, the poked from the unpoked, the vacated from the unvacated, the, division, division, division. And I have said, I've pretty consistently called it forces of division, in between calling it all of the other names people have given it. And inverted matrix has come about because of this. Because fostering the duality, this is interesting. I have a game that I play sometimes just when I want to have a blank mind and not really be thinking about anything, because sometimes I think too much. The funny thing is, they're having a campaign right now called the Duality Campaign, which is so appropriate, and you can't tell me that some of these people aren't on top of it, right? But it's funny that the game designers would be having that right now, because we're dealing with twos. So there's going to be twos all over the place. Twos are also relationship to each other. It's duality, and it's the relationships we have with each other, the relationships we have with the world, the relationships we have with the spirit world, and on and on. It's about relationships quite a bit, okay? And there are also other meanings, of course, but I think this is a big one. Duality and relationships. Well, like I said, the last time this eclipse, and eclipses are activators, they activate things, they activate something, and it may not happen exactly that day, but it activates something to happen, to begin happening. It's like flipping a switch, okay? And then it starts to go. The process starts to go, okay? The program switches on, that part of the program. And then, later on, we find out exactly what that was all about, for sure. Because even though we get a little glimpse of a label from astrology or whatever, or seeing it psychically, we get it's just like a label. It's like, well, it looks, maybe a little brief synopsis, like you're seeing a movie, but we won't really know everything about that movie until we're living that movie, going through that movie, seeing that movie. We're going to be living it soon. And we've been told that it's going to be a complete switch. And I have said before, it looks like our government is on very shaky ground right now. They've been playing the duality game. They have been trying to incite violence between us and all forms of division and not taking responsibility. And well, they don't want to take any responsibility. Okay, fine. Well, then guess what? People are not going to be happy with that. You better just accept that. I don't think things went the way anybody quite expected it to go, which is good. And I'm very proud of all you who did not fall for it all. And I don't know if oh hi James Ortiz, sorry. Um I don't know if some people are really quite ready for it, but this week is getting us ready. And this Thanksgiving, be thankful for what you have because it's all about to change. The advice for this weekend and beyond is get ready to cut the ties with the old inverted matrix and cut them. I mean, Friday is really, as far as what I'm hearing, Mercury is going to come along. I mean, we're coming up on a Neptune transit. And remember what I told you Neptune was about, right? Okay. And so Mars is going to come along, according to this astrologer that I was listening to. Mars is going to come along and cut it for us. May require more than one chop, though, but Mars is going to come along and cut it. And the numerology and everything is just so interesting. But you also, you're going to have choices to make. And if you choose to cling to the inverted matrix and all that it means and all of the stuff that's wrong with the world, it's going to stick to you. And the advice was it's like a tennis match. If you want to end a tennis match, you just don't return the ball. You just put your paddle behind your back and walk away and let the ball fall wherever it may, right? And that's the other person's energy, and you have nothing to do with it, right? And basically, that is the advice: is if you encounter some of this duality stuff, just let the energy drop. Just let it drop. And this is going to take some work, I think. I think this is probably going to take some practice and some work, and we're going to have to really remind ourselves. But don't beat yourself up. Don't keep falling into the same trap of how worthless you are or how inconsequential or how you're unlucky and how things are against you or whatever. Don't fall into that because you really don't want that to stick to you. You want to be able to cut that now and believe that no, this is not going on. This is going to be different. And you have to really, I mean, if you want things to be different, you just have to accept that they are becoming different and look around, they are becoming different. Things are changing. People, I mean, this whole thing that we've got going on now, people were so dense they still weren't awake. I mean, all kinds of alarms and bells and stuff were going off, and they still weren't awake. People still didn't want to wake up. I said back in 12, I said the cosmic snooze bar is going to be shrinking, and eventually it's going to shrink to where it is not there anymore. And I think we're hitting that point. I've said this before. That cosmic snooze bar, people have been hitting it, and some people have been hitting it, been hitting it, been hitting it. It's not going to be there to hit anymore. You know? It's gone. It's finally going to be gone. You will not be able to ignore what's going on anymore. And you can check out, leave, I suppose, still. But if you stay in, you're going to be hearing the alarm. And you're going to have to pay attention to that. Now, the thing is, we're winning. This is all a sign that we're winning. This is all a sign things are changing. We have been asking for this. We've been asking this since forever, haven't we? We've been saying stuff has got to change. This is just not working. This inverted matrix is not working. Well, we're going to get that. But something is going to have to change. Things are going to have to change. In order for something, people want things to change, except they don't want anything to change. They're uncomfortable with the change. And there will be a transition period. And I'm not sure I'm looking forward to the transition period either. But there will be a transition period. Now, look, I'm being told we're going to be taken care of. It's not going to be as bad as some people try to paint it. And please keep your thoughts positive about this, that there are going to be so many things, though, that are going to crash and burn and be gone. They're just going to vanish. There are right now more people. I think one of the funniest things I heard recently, sorry, I got to shift around my couches. I'm really very comfortable. Maybe I'll get a new couch. I don't know. Basically, you're going to have to really just ride the waves and trust that you are going to be taken care of, because I hear that all the time. I have been told it over and over, but don't worry, there will be a way made for you. You will be okay. You will be taken care of. You're not going to be left hung out to dry. That's not going to be happening. You're not going to be twisting in the wind. You're going to be okay. There's going to be a way made. You may have to look for it. You may have to keep your eyes open. You may have to, keep asking people, say, hey, I need this. I need this. I need this. What can I do about it? You may have to do that, but it's going to be available. Something's going to come available. So don't give up. Don't allow yourself to give up. And don't allow yourself to fall back into the inversion, where you think, well, that's never going to happen because Murphy's Law or whatever. No. When the inverted matrix is gone, it's going to be gone. And things are going to be straight on again. And what I was saying, what I was saying before, I thought one of the funniest things was hearing Russell Brand talk about how one of the cable news networks actually had less people watching them than he did now. And this was a national cable news network. They only had like 43 watchers since, the first 2 weeks of October. And I'm there going, oh my gosh, that's unheard of. Well, these are going to collapse. These things are going to collapse. As a matter of fact, I see a lot of things collapsing. What's going to happen is people have just had enough. My visions show people just drawing a line in the sand and saying, that's it right there. Don't come any closer. Some people are going to be up in arms. Some people are going to be fighting this. See, it's not going to be the same kind of revolution we had with the first Revolutionary War we had here. Going to be entirely different. We're going to be fighting it differently. Yes, some people have already armed up and they're going to be standing there with their guns defending their territory. But a lot of us are going to be doing it in other ways. We're just going to be saying no to Black Friday. Okay? We're going to be saying no to these companies that do not treat their employees right. We're going to be saying no to factory farms. No, we're not going to get our meat there. We're going to go to a local farmer. People are just going to be, why? Because a lot of this stuff is getting gummed up anyway. Because people are walking off the jobs. They're done. They've had it. And this is what I see. The imagery is a person's people people are going to be standing there with their, like a person standing there with a palm out saying, okay, that's it. Stop right there. That's enough. I've had enough. Just stop. And walking away. People with hands on their hips saying, I'm done. Okay. And I will find my own way. I will find a way to do this myself. So a lot of these situations are going to crumble. They've been trying to make all the small businesses unprofitable and close down so that only the big corporations will last. And I think it's going to invert on them. I think once it reverts, the inverted matrix gets cut. I think it's going to revert. And we're going to have real food again and real farmers making, growing real food and raising their own real cattle and having real money again of some sort, or some real form of exchange backed by something besides air. I mean, all of that's going to happen. And it's got to happen. I mean, every single system that I see, every single inverted system, the banking system, housing, food, everything that's been weaponized, everything that has been turned into something toxic and harmful for us, it's all going to be turned around. I mean, even the things that we're not going to be expecting. I think a lot's going to happen that we're not going to be expecting. So there will come a day when you will be able to once again have clean air, clean water, clean food, and not have to pay through the nose for it all. But we're going to have to stay strong in the meantime. Now, there's been a little bit more about this. Probably there's going to be a lot of vacillation, and you're going to, for a while, you'll be able to swing back and forth on this, but really, sooner rather than later, you're probably going to have to come down to a decision where I'm going to believe in myself, believe in the good, believe in God, believe in what you believe in, that brings us the better reality. Either I believe that the inverted matrix can revert to the regular reality, or the regular matrix, or the 5D, or whatever. Either you believe in that it's really going to happen, that things are really going to get better, that we can really change things, that it really can change over and flip over and be something good, or you don't believe in it. And they're saying now, this astrologer was saying, and if you take the low road, you're going to end up stuck in karma longer. Because what we've been dealing with is a lot of karma for quite some time, since about 12, I guess. We've been dealing with first our individual karma, and then our national karma, and then, our world karma, and that's all. Now that we're getting through all that, we're going to have to make a choice. Are we going back into karma, or are we going to move along and go on to something else? And of course, the advice is always go on to something else. So that means if you come on my show and you discuss in the comments about how bad and awful and terrible everything is, well, yes, we know about this, okay? And I feel for you. But don't linger on that. Okay, you cannot linger on that is the reality and going to stay the reality. You can say this stuff, but realize that it's changing. It's going to change. Realize it's going to change. Don't keep gluing yourself to it more. Because every time you talk about it like it's a real thing, you're making it more of a real thing. Now you've got to start thinking of it like it's a going away thing, and then eventually like it's a gone thing, like it was that way. It was that way. Okay, Murphy's Law, maybe it was that way at some point. Uh, everything is toxic, maybe it was that way. It's not, that's going away. So we have to hold this in our minds. All that's going away until we can really believe, okay, that's gone now. And I think we will see a lot of systems shutting down. And as it is, it will be easier to believe. As they shut down and things obviously come falling down to be replaced by something else better, we will find it easier and easier to believe that, yes, indeed, we are winning. But if you look at it, I know how bad it looks sometimes, but really we are winning. It's all desperation. It's all just the flux that we have to go through to get out the other side. So maybe you want to prep a little bit, not because you think it's going to be so horrible, but because you want to be comfortable. There might be a few shortages. There might be some power outs. There might be some stuff like that. You don't want to be afraid, and you don't want to be, don't go crazy. It's not going to be forever, okay? We're going to be taken care of. Some of us are going, but I can't move. I can't get off grid. I can't do this and that. Well, if that's necessary, a way will be made. It really will. That's what I've been told too. When it comes right down to it, a way is going to be made for us. And so we're not to be afraid. And being afraid is only going to make it worse. So it's going to be also a battle with ourselves and our ego. Because our ego is going to be screaming. And oh, and Crystal, will you please tell him you've got my email, right? Will you please tell John to shoot me an email so I have his I have his wrong email. I have John's wrong email. Anyway, when you have somebody come upon you trying to argue with you, the suggestion is to not return it, not let them goad you into anything, into arguing, into responding, into doing anything. Just let the ball drop. I knew a guy one time that would get so upset. And I can't call him a friend, he's an acquaintance. He would make a play at a woman and he would say, "Well, look at that. She dropped the ball," when she did not respond. He would say, "She dropped the ball." And would say to him, "She didn't drop the ball. She dodged the ball. You're playing baseball. She's playing dodgeball. She didn't want to catch that." That's what you don't understand. You're trying to pitch, she's trying to dodge. And he'd get so mad. If she wanted to catch that ball, she would have caught it, okay? Trust me. Don't catch the ball, dodge it. Just dodge it. This ball that they're throwing, you don't want to go to this ball. You don't want to dress up for it. You don't want to go to that ball. Okay? Stay away from that ball. We'll have our own celebrations, okay? Not theirs. It's not their kind. But yeah, I have a feeling that some people are probably going to go kind of nuts. And yes, more nuts than they're going right now. And you may have to stand strong against that too. But once again, just not. It's trolling. It's like trolling. Don't feed the trolls. Don't feed the trolls. Because I think there will be trolls. people who are there showing up just to try to get a reaction out of us, just to try and drag us back into the inversion. Okay, that's probably going to happen because maybe all of it is to it is that they can't get themselves out of it, right? And they're lonely now, and they want to drag you into it, into their chaos, and you just can't allow it. The other thing is, what I foresee is this: instead of all of the division that's been trying to happen, I see us coming together more and more. This is bringing us together. I see Black people coming, making uh, videos in support of the fact that they don't feel like they're being oppressed by white people. They're doing just fine for themselves. They don't need white people to shore them up. They don't need, you know, the charity of the current administration to shore them up. They're fine. They're doing fine on their own. And that, you know, white people are not, they do not feel oppressed by white people, which flies in the face of critical race theory. So, you know, but I'm so glad to see this, you know, and really it is insulting. It is very insulting to think that, you know, they're just hanging on, you know, this administration's charity or something. It's ridiculous. Oh, but they can't get to they don't have access to the ways to vote and blah, blah, blah. Oh, yes, they do. Everybody does now. Everybody has a phone, or most people have a phone, unless you're homeless. And even then, some of the homeless people have a phone. And even then, there are libraries, public libraries and stuff, where you can get online. It's not the way it used to be. And I know homeless people. They have more resources than they ever had. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying I would ever want to do it, but they do have resources now. It's not impossible. Um, so basically, that's happening. I don't know if I mentioned it before, but probably I did at some point, that those who haven't been vacated and those who have been vacated were supposed to hate each other. And although some of that is happening, a lot of people who are totally believe in the vacation, so to speak, the wax folks, um, are standing up for people's right to not believe in that, to not want that in their videos. And they're making videos about this. And I think a lot of this is not going to be fought with guns. It's going to be fought online. And I was seeing like walls papered with dogma, this vision, papered with these posters, these dogmatic posters. And it's kind of like in the movie I Live, you know, They Live, that movie where everything's telling you to do, you know, do this, do that. And I see people just tearing down those posters and signs, and just taking them all down to see what's underneath, to see what the truth really is, to find it for themselves. And I see the rejection, the rejection. I've had enough. Like, what was it from the film Network? I'm not going to take it anymore. We ain't going to take it. I see a lot of that, and it's going to be in so many different ways. And new forms are going to come up. We're going to have, I mean, we've got people working, we've already got people who have made anti-grav. hovercraft and stuff, hoverboards. Hoverboards already exist. I mean, it's not going to be too much longer before we have hover cars. The military space program is going to be supplanted by civilian space program. Not that I think the military may entirely cease to exist. We probably need that for defense. But yeah, I think we're going to see a new era in space exploration. I think we're going to see a new era in finance. I think in every single area of the way people live, it's going to change because people have finally had enough and they just can't take it anymore. So by the time this is over with, oh my gosh, will it be a different world? Yes, it certainly will. But we just have to remain strong through the shifting and not feed the trolls that want to keep the inverted matrix inverted. We got to not glue it in place. We've got to put a little bit of solvent on there and let it flip back upright for the sake of everybody. And imagine that, maybe even imagine that. Something that might be a good meditation. In fact, I would say maybe I'm going to do something like that, is find something that represents the matrix to you. And start out in your mind with it turned upside down, the inverted matrix. And then see it turning itself right, upright again. Or maybe you, in your mind, turn it upright again. And that would give you a trigger, a process, a way to remind yourself that this is what's going on now. This is what we're working on. We're all working on this together. And I see it, for me, it almost looks like a compass. It looks like a compass rose where north is south and south is north and whatever, and that I'm taking it and I'm turning it to where it's right again, right way up again, and no longer inverted, which may mean that if everything else, they've talked about in some of the old maps, north and south are inverted. They're different. It's different. So I don't know. Maybe that is even true for all we know. Maybe at one time, north and south were entirely different. Maybe that got flipped too. When we flipped our maps, there's got to be a reason why that was done, right? If some of the older maps were the opposite way. So don't be surprised. And don't be surprised at what we find. Although we will continue to be surprised because I think we're going to find out some really wild, wild stuff. Hey, Ken. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Good day. Ah. No, I'm just talking about how we got to stand our ground and say no. Now, I pulled a couple of cards, and somehow we got to find a way to say no. And I know for some of you, this is going to be terribly hard. I know you can't leave the country, but now that you can't leave the country, that means you're going to have to take back your country. And I'm sorry, I know. Me too. Me too. What am I going to do? Well, I'm going to use my mind. I'm going to use my abilities, my psychic abilities. I'm going to use my ability to talk with the angels and the nature spirits. I'm going to use my ability to create a stream like this. and talk about things that we need to talk about, I'm going to use the abilities I do have. I'm not going to focus on what I don't have and what I can't do, because that's not going to help me any. That's not going to help you either. That's not going to help anybody. If I sat here for a while and I did that. I was doing that with myself. I don't have this and I don't have that and I don't want to have to, because sometimes I don't really feel like I get an idea that I need to talk to you guys, and it doesn't happen because I feel like I need to um, maybe put on a little makeup or take a shower, or do my hair, or or get it down a little better, or to do this or to do that or something. And it's like, no, 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 no. That's why you see this format now, where you're seeing a candle and you're not seeing me, you're seeing my little work table, because I don't want to have to focus it. This is not about me. This is not about me. This is not about how I look. This is not about any of that. That's all got to go. This is about what I'm seeing and how can I help? How can I do my job as best as I can do my job, and keep putting one foot in front of the other and having faith that that next step is going to be there under my foot, because I can't see it yet. I can't see it yet. But I know it's going to be there somehow, somehow. So I start to put my foot down forward. That step is going to be there under me to support me. This is what I've been told. But you have to take steps. You have to take one step. And believe me, this symbolism is very interesting, because right now, remember, I have to walk with a walker because of my back. I have to it's very difficult sometimes to put one step in front of another. I have to work at it. I have to pay attention. Sometimes it kind of hurts. But I have to keep doing it. And I have to keep trusting that the next step is going to be there. And I have to keep trusting that I'm going to hold up to do it. And I will. But that's how we got to do it. You have unique gifts. You know you do. You are divine. And you know you're being watched over. If you ever think not, ask. Ask for validation. Ask for signs that you really are being taken care of. David did the sweetest thing. When I was thinking, am I crazy? Because every now and then I think, God, am I crazy? Look what I talk about. Look what I do. Look how I live my life. Look how, it's just, did this ever even really happen? And so then a video of his comes on, and it shows me the little avatar I had. I had a little 3D avatar like in a game, and so did he. And this video shows our avatars, and I'm sitting there in awe, because yes, that is a video about me and him. That's a video about us, how we interacted, how we knew each other, the connection we made. It's him looking into a mirror. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. I every time I think, I'm crazy. Am I delusional? Did this ever even really happen? And remember, I didn't feel like I could get close to him physically ever. I didn't want to put him in any danger because I felt like I was in danger. I felt like I would be endangering him. And I felt like it would never work anyway because of my situation to be in that crowd. Basically, I didn't see how it would ever match what I was able to do at the time, what I was going through at the time. And I had to keep telling him, I'm sorry, I can't. I would love to. Because one time he even asked me, he said, I would love to sing something with you. And when I said, but I can't come, I can't do that. And he said, well, who is your favorite female singer? And I said, okay, Annie Lennox. And the next thing, and I told him what song I always did. I always did Under Pressure with one of my friends. And Annie Lennox was who he did the song with next. He actually put that out. He did a song. He did Under Pressure with Annie Lennox. I'm like, did that really happen? Yes, it really happened. Because when these things would happen to me, I would never believe it. I would never believe it. When I met Weird Al, I was teasing him. I was saying, but you don't look anything like Weird Al. Well, he'd grown out his hair, gotten contacts, lost weight, et cetera, et cetera. I said, you don't look anything like Weird Al. Why are you trying to pull this joke on me? And this happened over and over to me, right? Because I couldn't believe it. And so I couldn't really reap all of the benefits because I just couldn't believe that it was really happening. And this leads back to what is going on now. We have been waiting for this so long, and we have been told so many times, oh, it's happening. We've been waiting. Oh, when is it happening? When is it happening? When is it happening? I want it to happen. I'm so tired of waiting. Come on. You know, now it's happening. And it's like, wait, this can't be happening. Can it? Yes, it's really happening. Yes. 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 That really is Weird Al. Yes. I saw Marilyn Manson too. I found out I know his cousin. Yeah, and somebody who went to school with him. Yes, that is really Marilyn Manson. His his real the real person behind. Yes, he showed up too and has seen me perform. And a whole bunch of other people who I just couldn't believe at the time. Some of them incognito, right? But apparently I'm a known entity in a lot of places, and that I didn't realize. So it's kind of weird. It's kind of strange. I couldn't believe it, and therefore I couldn't really enjoy it the way I should have. Not believing that it could be possible. I didn't believe for a long time that David was David. I knew he was an incredible person, but he had to prove that he really was David. And I think it's going to be like that. When things start actually going well, we've had so much of this inversion. It's been so crazy. It's been so glued over everything all this time. Geez, you know, when it actually happens, we're going to be, I think a lot of us, I know I'm probably going to be back and forth on, is this really happening? Yes, it's really happening. Are you sure it's really happening? This can't be happening. Yes, it's really happening. It's really happening. Inverted matrix is going down. It really is this time. Really, really. The timing is right. All the numerology lines up. The stars line up. Everything lines up. The people's attitude even lines up. Boy, does it ever. People are more fed up now than they ever were. Yes, it's going down. Yes. Hey, Pam. Hi, Pam, I am. Yeah, it's going down. And I think it's going to be for many of us have been fighting this. Remember how many lifetimes some of us have been doing this, have been working on this. As a matter of fact, maybe all of us. How many lifetimes? How many times has something horrible happened and it hasn't worked? But look at the card I got. I've been seeing 222 and I've also been seeing fours. This is four. Peyote ceremony, new abilities. And this card, trying to get to where you can see it, sorry. Trying to do the camera work, not catch the card on fire, etc., etc. New abilities. Something really big changing. Usually when this happens, sometimes it like this could be somebody had an ayahuasca experience or whatever. But this card talks about a new ability gained. Okay, and sometimes gained shamanically. Quite often gained shamanically. So now this is interesting. This card, the ant, whoa, don't burn anything. This ant card, okay, ant is usually patience, working hard to achieve a goal, laying one brick on the other, one little sand grain on top of the other to make the anthill, etc., etc., etc. But it came up reversed. Now listen, Pluto, this is coming up during Scorpio. This eclipse is coming up during Scorpio. And remember, it matters what sign the eclipse is in. It makes a difference. Scorpio, the sting. Upside down, this card is the sting. And sometimes it means a sting operation. You know what a sting operation is, right? I think somebody's getting stung. And I think for once, it's not us. I think there's a sting operation in effect, and they're just waiting for all the evidence to stack up, and suddenly the net comes down and it's over. And it's going to be probably so abrupt that it'll make your ears ring. You know, it'll make your head spin. It's going to be like, boom, there it is. And probably people will be awestruck. And then there will be a heck of a lot that we'll have to do in order to, there'll be a heck of a lot of cleanup, let's put it that way. I have my selenite with me. Just letting you know, this is so I can, the unicorn horn, so purity, so I can be telling the truth. And my lightsaber. I'm not doing it very good today. But okay. So that's mostly what I wanted to be sure you understand. That this is just an activation on Friday. It will set this into motion. It's like turning on a switch. It's like you push a button that sets a process into motion. The button's getting pushed Thursday, Friday at this eclipse. Once that program boots up, then you'll see some rocking and rolling. Yeah, some of this I'm just coming up with now. It's going to be like things are going to happen fast instead of slow like they have been. They have been like, you know, no, it's going to happen like, pow, like that. It's like, whoa, 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 wait a minute. And some people are going to be like, nah, nah. It's like, yeah, yeah, that happened right there. Here, take a look. Well, holy crap. What the heck? Yep. And there'll probably be people for quite some time, yeah, it won't quite set with them yet. I might even be one of them. I hope I can embrace it. The trick is going to be to embrace the change. Yeah. Yeah, cognitive dissonance, right. I mean, even we may be subject to some of that since we have been through so much. So we got to kind of guard ourselves, not to be, once again, we can't trust every dang thing, but we've got to realize that yes, it's changing, and yes, good things can happen. It can actually be a good thing instead of a very bad thing disguised as a good thing, which is what we've been having. We've been having all kinds of really bad things disguised as a good thing. Every darn thing that we've been given to, and they say, "Oh, here, this'll help. This'll fix it. This'll make it better." It's all been freaking poison, hasn't it? That's gonna stop. That's all gonna stop. And we're probably gonna, I know I'm gonna be shocked. I'm like, I'm so wary of everything right now and so untrusting that when things actually work the way they're supposed to, I'm probably gonna be shocked. I'm admitting it. I'm gonna try not to be, but I don't know if it's humanly possible not to be a little shocked at it. That actually we're being offered something that will work, that we're actually being offered something that's not going to kill us, that actually the inverted matrix is dying and reality is turning itself right ways up again. Okay? Like this card. Like this card. It's going to be going Sting. And I think this is so interesting because this, once again, Scorpio. Scorpio plays a part. Remember, Scorpio, very secretive, capable of being either the best or the worst. Your best friend, your worst enemy, sometimes both at the same time. It's very duality based. Scorpio is very much about duality, although it's not the twins. There's a real duality with Scorpio. It's either the eagle or the scorpion or the phoenix, which is the intermediary phase. I think we're going to go through this phoenix phase. Now, hopefully it won't be too painful. When a Scorpio person starts transitioning, they go into what I call the phoenix phase. And everything goes down for them. Things burn for them, just go down. And but or they drop everything. They just drop it all. And then there's this transitional time when they are being reborn, when they are awaiting rebirth. Usually there's a little time awaiting rebirth, and then when they are reborn, uh, they come up different. They become the eagle, and that is very interesting because what is the symbol of our nation? The eagle. What have we not been for a long time? The eagle. We really haven't been that for some time, have we? Not really. Another Another symbol that I hear the Native Americans would look at Scorpio as sometimes the whining gray lizard. Um, Interesting name, huh? So I'm told. Uh, so basically, a lot of complaint, not too much change in that case. Not the stingy one, not the freedom uplift, but something in the middle that's just kind of grumpy and whiny. We've gone through that too. So one of the things I'm going to be doing is imagining this card. Let me see if I can get a good turning like that. Back up again to where putting one foot in front of the other, putting one grain of sand on top of the other, the anthill gets built. Right. And the anthill is going to be quite a wonderful anthill, I think. It's going to be quite amazing. Exactly, David. Yeah, David. Yep. Think, okay, at least, at least, at least feature that it might be positive. If you can't think, oh, that's going to be positive, then at least maybe you can think it could be positive instead of automatically going, it's going to kill us, which I'm very, very prone to do. Nah, it's going to kill us. You're going to find out that that's deadly or something. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to have to drop that. I know I am. And I know what it's going to be like. I know I'm going to end up arguing with my ego, right? And it's not that I don't need, I'm not one of these people that believe that you need to completely give up your ego and kill it and all that. That puts you at odds with yourself. But you do have to put your ego in its place and give it the job it was really meant for. And the job it was really meant for was your little ego. I'll give you an example. You're driving a car, right? Now let's say your ego is like a little guy trying to drive a car, and he can barely see over the wheel. And so there's a dip in the road, but to him it looks like a cavern. And he goes, no, we can't go there. We're going to die. Because his job is to keep you alive. Now, he can have all kinds of messed up ideas about how to keep you alive, and often does. And it can be in a very screwed up way, right? That your little ego thinks it has to do things to keep you alive. But your higher self or larger self, we'll call it maybe larger self. Now it's very large and it gets behind the wheel and it can see way down the road, right? And it can see that that dip is just a little incline, right? Maybe it's just a little dip in the road. It's just a little hill that you're on that, and okay, well, or maybe it sees that it's a little longer hill. Maybe it's going to be a little bit like a roller coaster, but at least he sees that coming, right? This larger part of you sees it coming and is prepared and so knows what to do, can, respond that way. Your ego can't do that. Your ego can't see that far, okay? So think of it that way. You cannot let your ego have the steering wheel. Okay? He's a crossing, he's better as a crossing guard. Tell you the truth. He's better as a crossing guard Let your ego be the crossing guard. Whoa, okay, wait a minute. Let the traffic go by. Okay, now walk. Yeah, that's what your ego's supposed to do. Okay. That's the kind of job, not driving the bus, right? Right. So maybe thinking of it that way. Right. And flipping right to the negative is not going to help. And you're going to maybe have to remind me too. Please do. If I need to be reminded and forget. Oh, Crystal likes my sound effects. Oh, yes. And greetings and favor to all of you, by the way. Um, and another thing is, I would say meditation is probably important right now. And maybe get a picture of what you want it. I have been told more than once that having an image to help you focus on what you do want, whether that's a picture or some kind of token. And when you see that object, it means this. It means reverted matrix. Matrix standing upright again, moving into 5D, or whatever it is you want, however you want to see the positive shift. And I actually think 5D is a transitional place for us to get over. See, like fourth dimension, 5D has been very transitional. This was the land of death. This was our place of death. I mean, shamanically, fourth dimension is where our dead were, always were. Which may be why we're seeing people be alive and dead and alive and dead. Mandela effect stuff, weirdness. But and other weirdness too. I mean, we're seeing some 4D artifacts, I think, because now we're seeing more. Now, isn't it interesting? Think about this. How since 12 and just in 2021, it's been really visible. What did I tell you way back? In 2021, we're really going to see some stuff. Oh, yes, we did. We saw some stuff, didn't we? And we're going to see more. 2022 is going to be mastering that. 2022 is mastery, I think. And 2, mastering the physical plane. It's a master number. And 222 with a 0 there might be about relationships and duality. Yes, which it looks like it is. And there is a reason why the parasites are so into astrology and numerology and all that, is because the whole place is code. It should give us a clue. Astrology, numerology, it's part of the code. So yeah, they're going to be into numerology and astrology. They're going to be crazy about it. The ancient civilizations were all crazy about it. Why? Because it's the code. That is the code. Yeah, see? Interesting, huh? And now you know why they're so crazy about it. That's part of it, right? If you know the code, then you know what's going to happen. You know what this code means. What does it mean? What does it mean? The Bible is full of references to astrology, and people don't get that. They just don't get it. Full of references. If you realize, especially if you realize that the eagle and the scorpion are the same sign of the zodiac. Okay, so this sign, maybe what we want to call it instead of Scorpio, if we want to reinforce it, maybe we want to call it Phoenix or Eagle, because at one time it was Eagle. Scorpion is actually the fallen symbol of this sign, or inverse symbol of this sign, the opposite of this upright. So maybe we should call this the Eagle month, the month of the birthdays of Eagle people. And maybe that way that will bring them all back into Eagle alignment instead of Scorpion alignment. There's a thought. What if I suddenly started calling all my Scorpio friends Eagles instead of Scorpions? Going to be hard, maybe, or maybe not. I'm going to allow for the fact maybe not. What's that? Okay. You guys have anything to add? Yeah, Pam, code, code, code. Exactly. Code, 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 code. It's all freaking code. Why couldn't we see it before? Because we hadn't gotten to 2021 yet. We haven't gotten to 2020 vision. Remember, I told you 21. Okay, told you 2020. We're gonna see some. We're gonna start to really see some shit. 21. We're gonna see more shit, but it's gonna be. We're gonna see the underworld, the underpinnings, the rackets that are going on, right? And yep, we're seeing the underworld. We're seeing the crime. The crime is coming up to light, and that's what 2021 was all about. And I said that. And now I'm telling you, mastery of the physical plane and duality, mastery of duality. Which duality do you prefer? Do you prefer the duality of good and bad, or do you prefer the duality of good and better? I mean, maybe we could have one that's good and better, you know? I don't know. Maybe we don't have to have it be so extreme or something, you know? We're going to have to be creative to figure all this out, huh? Right. And honestly, David, I'll put that up. And honestly, David, if something I used to say, and this is funny, um, before we lower heaven, and really it has been said that we're going to lower heaven, that we're going to bring it here. Not that we are going to go there, but that we are going to make this heaven. That is the way it was always described. Sorry. Any other way that you think of it is not the way that it was told. But I would say before we lower heaven, we're going to have to raise a little hell. And I think this administration has really done quite a bit to prove that. They have made things so obvious and blatant and raised so much hell. And in these later days, like all the parasites have raised so much hell that, yeah, you know, it's like, okay, come on now. And now people can see it because it's been raised up to where they can see it. You know, it was down there. It's like they couldn't see it. They were just stepping around it and stepping over it. And it's like, now it's been raised up to where, oh, dang. What is that? What is that? Right. Wow. That's right, David. Keep your frequency high. We'll win, and we always do. Ride those waves. Stay, how they say, stay the course. Yeah. Don't allow yourself to get knocked off path. Don't allow yourself to get waylaid. Yeah. Don't allow anything to make you do a U-turn. You don't need to be doing any U-turns, okay? Nope. We're going forward. So, I love you guys. That's pretty much all I have to say tonight. At this point, maybe there was something more I talked about. And a lot of times I talk to Teresa, Gemini. And when I talk to my sister Gemini, we're always on the same page in the end. By the end of the conversation, we're on the same page. Really, we find we are really on the same page. And things just come so clear. They just come popping out. Like, what is the meaning of this stuff I've been seeing? With people tearing down the posters, with people drawing a line on the ground. Well, yeah, that kind of has a drawing the line in sand. But really, that could also mean this idea of Mercury coming along and cutting the cord. And people standing with their chest puffed out and their hands, one hand out saying, stop. And people standing there with their hands on their hips in a power stance, saying, I stand my ground. And then another thing is towers. Oh boy, here we come. Another vision. I guess I'm not quite done yet. Towers melting. Oh, just like the melted cities. They're just melting. They're just coming down. Tall towers. Tall white, maybe ivory towers, maybe people in their ivory towers. The ivory towers are coming down. It doesn't look like the Twin Towers. It doesn't look like anything modern. It looks like castle towers. Looks like a parapet, that kind of tower. Just melting all the way down like a candle. Um, okay, yes. And I'm supposed to mention, be aware that there'll be a whole lot of new technologies and a lot of ancient technologies that will be revived. You'll want to jump on that when they come up, okay? If you can invest, go ahead and invest in stuff like that. That's going to be coming up. Yeah. Remember, a lot of people really are realizing we had a much higher society at one time than we even have today. Oh, by the way, I wanted to say, I have said before that Mother Earth has told me that she's had 3 times as many living on her and was able to provide for them all very easily. That at one time she had 3 times the people on her that are on her right now, that she's providing for right now. And people are finding evidence that this is the case. A lot of these places that are deserts now, that are, wilderness areas and so on, were highly populated. Highly populated. So when she says there were over 3 times as many as now, I don't think she's kidding about that. That may be entirely accurate. She might, not that I doubt her, to tell the truth. I mean, But once again, sometimes can I believe what I'm being, what I'm hearing, my translation, what I'm hearing or seeing or feeling? But yeah, I think I got that right. I think I heard that right. Over 3 times as many as we have now. So all this talk about needing to kill off some people because our population is too big for the Earth to support it is completely bogus. She could easily support way more people and has. And we're going to find that out one day. Wow. When we find out the real hidden history, isn't that going to be something? Yeah. And somebody is saying just dump history altogether. Dump out what you think you know about history altogether. Just, you're going to find out that like 90% of everything in there is total bullshit. All those hours you spent in history class were totally bogus. All those history books, all these history channel things, I mean, there are little elements that are right, but the truth is the history books don't tell the truth. They don't have any. We've been told complete fallacies. I mean, like Christopher Columbus discovered America. We know Leif Erikson was here before Christopher Columbus, right? So, bullshit. It's bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Yeah. And it goes on and on and on and on. So, yeah, just be open to that too coming up. Every darn thing's going to come up. And just going to disprove everything that we've been told. And all these people are going, yes, but historically, and you're going to be sitting there going, fake historically. Oh, and this is really something I know. I'm not trying to be, I hesitate to say this because I know how it sounds, but really think about this. I realize this because my cat is a Manx. He's got a very woolly undercoat, like a sheep, very curly, fuzzy, woolly, right? He's obviously, and then a slicker top coat, and actually makes his fur look wet because it kind of breaks and has a ripply effect, right? Like a bunch of little umbrellas. And I realize, yes, this cat is ideally suited for cold, wet weather. His undercoat is very fuzzy like a sheep. And sheep also are from a cold, wet area, right? They have to be able to keep themselves warm. That's why they have this extra fuzzy fur. And the buffalo had extra fuzzy fur. Now, this is interesting. What about camels? And then, what about this idea that the reason black people's hair is very, very curly is because of catching in tree limbs and as they run through the trees and some other bogus baloney? What if that's baloney too? What if their particular part of the species evolved in somewhere a lot colder, like Tartaria? It looks like all the Tartarians were really dressed for cold weather. Or was it an ice age? I mean, we might have to look into that sort of thing too. I don't think that's necessarily true either. As a matter of fact, I think there's a darn lot of things that we've been told about how we evolved and why we evolved this way and that way and the other way that is also completely bogus, and we might want to, and why our behavior is a certain way. It's completely bogus. I think we're going to have to, in the end, dump it all in the trash and start again and start really looking at what really happened once we come across it. Mm-hmm. Because it probably happened absolutely nothing like that at all. Oh, as a matter of fact, yeah, that'll be another one. I'll try and get some of the bits together on that. But there have always been blonde, blue-eyed people in areas where we would expect to find dark-eyed, dark-haired, dark-skinned people. They are like in insular pockets. Remember, that the dark-eyed genes and the dark-skinned genes are dominant. So eventually, there, if there was mixing, the blonde and blue-eyed would be more and more and more rare. So that's just part of it, right? Um, yeah, Tartaria melted building. I'm sorry, I have to keep my eyes closed when I'm doing this. Um, yeah, Tartaria melted building. Like obelisks, yeah. Negative beings coming. Yeah, David, that might be. Yeah, yeah. History is very one-sided, right? And I think we're going to find out it is just so bullshit. All of it. Pardon my French. Just all. I don't even know that the faces on Mount Rushmore are even really presidents of the United States. I'm not even sure about that anymore. There is some indication that that may be completely false. The narrative that all of these buildings that were supposedly built in 3 years that are grander than what we can build right now, all of these canals and stuff all over the place. I worked in a place that had an underground area that was connected to the underground under Akron and had a canal running by it. And this always amazed me. And the inside of that building was amazing. The outside just looked like a brick building. It had been, all the fancy stuff had been taken down to blend in with the rest of the buildings. So it just looked like a brick building. But inside, they had kept the structure. Oh my God, it looked like an opulent palace. It looked like a Moorish palace. Moorish. And if you pay attention, especially to some of the Tartaria stuff, Moorish palace. Let me tell you, the Masons love that place. That they were preserving, I'm sure they were really part of the groups that were preserving that place, the inside of that place. Still has a Wurlitzer organ, still had some Antiquitech, had air conditioning without air conditioning, had a way to cool the air without an air conditioner called the plenum chamber. Now they say that didn't ever really exist. That was just a legend. It was just a rumor. No, it wasn't. I was there. That was real. They had ways to cool the place off without air conditioning, and it worked very well. I remember I was a child. The place would be nice and cool in there, and yeah. So they will try and tell you the truth is bogus, and bogus stuff is the truth. Yeah, it's just all across the board, and the truth just changes. They just change it at a whim. I can tell you that there were some places in there, and it connected to the underground part of Akron, and I worked in another building. The underground, that sometimes we had to go through part of the basement in order to get to the parking lot. Oh my God. What a scary basement this place had down in Akron. And down in Akron, you can really see evidence of mud flood. As I think about it, seriously, you see mud flood stuff down there. So God knows what was even below. I worked in two different places that I saw the basement area. When I worked male girl for BF Goodrich, when I worked underneath Polsky's, I went through Polsky's basement to go outside. Oh my God. I saw some scary stuff down in that basement. And they would just say, "Oh, that's just old boiler room." I saw this one huge. In my mind, I have this picture of this huge metallic thing that was like 2 stories tall. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, what the heck is that? And I looked at somebody that was walking out with me and I said, what? Have any idea what that is? Oh, they said it was some kind of boiler room or something. I looked at this thing. I said, no, that's not what it is. It gave me the serious creeps. It gave me the really serious creeps. Whatever this thing was, there was something very, very creepy connected with it. And I felt that way down in the tunnels too, BF Goodrich. Or was it Goodyear? Oh my gosh, now I'm getting them screwed up in my mind. Ah, no, it was BF Goodrich, I think. Because we always get because we see the Goodrich. They used to have pictures, advertisements. The Goodrich blimp. It's the Goodyear blimp. There is no Goodrich blimp, so it'd be just a blank sky. It was a cute ad, but yeah, even in my mind, I get them mixed up. But it was right down in Akron. Boy, that's another thing they do. They do the bait and switch thing to confuse us. Like um, Iran, Iran. Which one attacked us? Which one are we bombing? Wait a minute. Yeah, to confuse you. And you know what? And you'll be there in your mind going, wait a minute. I thought it was the other one. You know, when people were dying from what was it? Having heart problems from ephedrine, and then instead they banned ephedra, which nobody died of. Nobody died from using. It was ephedrine, but they banned the wrong one. They do that all the time. Okay, that's another inverted matrix thing. We're going to have to realize that's going to stop too. Yay! I'm so happy. We're not going to have to go through that again. Yeah, I still see the Goodyear blimp on a regular basis. It's loud as heck. That's how I know these craft I see up there are not blimps. I know what a blimp sounds like. They are freaking loud. The drivers have to wear earmuffs and stuff. Protective ear gear. Yeah, the Goodyear blimp is around here quite a bit. Uh, I mean, Akron, Rubber City, right there, right down the road from Steeltown, Cleveland. Okay, so anyway, yeah, they're very loud. Yeah, you remember? Yeah, I do too. I can't even believe some of the places I've been and the stuff I've seen. Those tunnels are creepy, though. Those underground tunnels give you the creepiest. Things just come out of them too. They're dark too, and it's like people and machinery just comes out of it. You better watch your butt. You go walking down there. I was a mail girl and delivering mail in some of those places. And why do they have to build the elevators to look like a giant set of jaws with teeth? Honestly, that's what they look like. The elevators looked like um, excavators. The with the sharp, I can't think of the word, but with the sharp teeth, how they dig out things. Anyway, the sharp teeth closing, that's what the elevators look like down there. I don't know how people ever got through working in there that they weren't like terrified every day. It's dark, things come out of nowhere. You can't see very far. It's not properly lit. If the electricity ever went off, it would be, oh my God, there would be no light at all, nothing except whatever you can make. And the feeling is weird, really weird. It doesn't feel good. And I had to constantly and then push myself to get on those elevators, because if you don't stop them in time, yeah, they could injure you pretty bad. Why? They were industrial elevators. Well, I sure didn't like getting on them. Let me tell you, it was just like you felt like you were being eaten by something, on top of being down under, the ground, where it's like pitch dark in areas and strange machinery is coming out of nowhere. And by the way that the tunnels and stuff were, it was really obvious it looked very old, like very, now that I think about it, to me it always seemed way older than it was just something ancient about it. And whenever we crossed the Edison Electric Dam right down there in Cuyahoga Falls, and I used to go through that park all the time as a kid, it looked and it felt way older, way, 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 way older. Like I'm looking at it and like, no, I kept getting the feeling, no, that's really, really, really old. It doesn't look like anything else around it. No. Hmm. And I got such an eerie feeling from it. I think I experienced some of what happened. Probably did. Probably you too. Anyway, okay, I love you guys. I'm trying to get off of here because my butt's getting tired. I really don't have a comfy couch. Maybe I will. I'm going to keep a positive thought. I have a comfy couch. I'm going to have a comfy couch some point. Either this one will get comfy or I will get a comfier one or the other. Something will happen. Okay. Yeah, I really got to get my memories. I really think that one part of my direction is I got to get my memories down before they just, and we'll probably be looking back at them and going, holy cow, and there'll be all kinds of clues as to what actually the truth was. If I can remember some of this stuff. I think we're still going to have to do some digging in order to get the truth. But probably it won't be as hard of a dig. And we'll have better tools. Okay, I love you guys. Once again, I'm going to try and finish this off and rest a little bit so I can come up with another one. Please do like and share. And if someone would post this wherever you can, and if you can, when it comes back up again, leave a comment. That would be very nice. Okay. Take care now. I have faith in you. Because you know why? You're divine. I know you are. And there isn't anybody more divine. Okay? So I have a lot of faith in y'all. This is Ocean Making Waves. Now, time for you to go out and make some and write some too. And the truth is out there. Oh, really? The truth is where you find it. I always used to say the truth is out there. No, the truth is in here or wherever you find it. You may find it in some very odd places. And the big thing is recognizing it when you see it. Hope you're finding some here on my channel. Okay, love you. See you next time. Night.